All right, good morning, guys. Welcome back. Happy Monday. Happy new week. Happy June 16th. How we doing? Welcome back. Yeah, Palantir looks strong so far. Yeah. We shall see. Hold on, let me raise this volume up. There we go. That's better. Yeah, short week this week, guys. So Thursday the market is closed. So let's remember that. This looks like a landmine week to me. It feels like a landmine week. You got FOMC on Wednesday, then the market is closed the next day, and then you have the options expiration this week. So, yeah, you got some stuff. That's for sure. You got some stuff. Let me go do one change here. I got to change something real quick for us here. Give me a moment. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna keep you guys on this. I want to get the economic calendar up here. All right, there we go. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Happy Monday. So let's go ahead and get the economic data in front of my face here to start. You guys can see pretty hectic economic week to start. We have retail sales tomorrow, and then we have the unemployment claims and the FOMC on Wednesday. So we will get a rate decision. Now this will be interesting, no doubt. I don't feel like the rate cut is coming, but I'm not going to try to guess that. So FOMC Wednesday, Tuesday retail sales. On top of that, we have the market closed Thursday. We have the futures switch to the September contracts. Which we'll talk a little bit about here when we start. So a lot of things going on right now. Great week to take it easy, and I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about the quote that is behind "You lose money fast in the stock market, you don't make it fast." And, I agree with this quote. I think it's important to understand what it's really trying to get across is that we can lose our money extremely quickly, and if we try to make that money back quickly, it usually ends poorly, right? And so this is really, I think, the main meaning behind this quote is, hey, we can lose our money very quickly. That's something that happens in trading. But if you try to turn around and make that money back twice as fast or just as quickly, it typically ends poorly, all right? And so the message here is let's focus on doing it the right way, in a structured way, right? If we take a loss, we take a real loss, a loss that is in our plan, right? Let's say a 1R loss, a stop loss, we stick to that stop loss. This is a loss we have to understand we take because we know that we can come back from that. But if we put ourselves too deep in a hole, right, on our losses, and then we get that feeling that we're trying to make it back quickly, this is when we snowball, right? And you do not want to snowball losses in your trading. So to recap that, right, to recap that, right, you lose money fast quickly. You can't make it back quickly. That's just a mindset, right? Yes, you can. You can make it back quickly, right? You can make money back quickly. It's possible. I think it's the mindset here that's important. If you lose it quick, don't try to make it back quick, because if you do that, it's going to snowball, all right? So that's your quote of today. That's your, what to step into this week and think about. If you're down bad in your trading and you're trying to make it back really quickly, it's going to be tough, right? You're going to be doing things and taking risks that are probably out of the ordinary. And if you're taking large risks out of the ordinary to make back a loss that's like sort of irking you, that you really upset you took, you're likely just going to make it another loss, right? And so think about this, focus on this, very important. it's tough because everyone wants to make back losses quickly, and yeah, it typically ends poorly. So there is your quote of the day. Quote of the day. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump in. Whoops, wrong one. There we go. Jumping into the charts. Here we go. So this morning, a little bit of news this morning out of Roku and Amazon. Not so sure that I want to chase that shiny object today, but there are some levels we can watch here that do make sense. Let me go ahead and move my face over just a tad. Hey, how you doing? Oh, wrong way. There we go. As you can see, big golf week for me. Nice and burnt. 2 rounds in a row. First round, it was pretty much as if I've never golfed before. It was like the first time I've ever swung a club. It was abysmal, which is just ridiculous how golf has got to be the most frustrating thing in the world. Pretty decent golfer, 90s on a good day, low 90s. I can play, all right? I can get out there. Yesterday, or the day before, Saturday, it's like I never swung the club. Unbelievable. Then Sunday, much better. Right back to where we typically are. Maybe because I haven't swung the club in like 5 months. It's probably why. Shaking off some rust. But yeah, I'm going to really try to lock in on golf a little bit this summer in Florida. That's going to be a goal of mine, is to like get out there and like get the mind off trading sometimes. Like hit the range on a midday. Try to play some rounds even by myself. I've never played a round by myself, but I want to do it. I want to get good at it, and I want to I think it's a really nice step away from the market, nice, peaceful, tranquil environment. Yeah, that's one of my personal goals this summer for me. All right. Not that you give a shit, but I figured I'd share it. All right. So anyways, stop talking about myself. Desi, shut up and get to the charts. Sure. Sorry. I apologize. Sorry about that. All right. So here's the thing today. You have to decide, and it's the volume traded is like pretty much, and shout out TB for this. I checked his Twitter this morning, Trade Brigade, shout out TB. You have to decide, I mean, these contracts are going to be trading very similar volume today, both of the previous contract and now the September contracts. I would personally focus on the September contracts today because they line up with the SPY and Qs. All right, so that's why I'd focus on this. This is also the contract that's going to increasingly get more volume through the rest of the week. So if you want to focus, and TOS has not changed it yet. So if you go to this Nasdaq, it's not correct. If you just go to /NQ, I believe this is like the continuous contract. You got to go to NQU25. That's what you have to type in today, or ESU25. That's what I would personally do. I think the last ones were M25. Yeah, that's previous. That's the Junes. So if you go to the ESU25, that is your September contracts. I would personally look at these today because this is what lines up with the SPY. You can see here, take a look at the discrepancy, right? See this Friday high on SPY? Look at where you're trading. Okay, now focus on this. Look at this, ESU25. See how the same type of deal there? Now let me show you the ES, all right? Look at this. You're above Friday's highs. So a little bit of discrepancy there. I'm really not sure how that's going to play out. It's going to be interesting. I would just simply focus on one. For me, that's going to be ESU25 today. That's the September contracts. So yeah, it hasn't changed for me yet, Chef. I don't know if it will. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and, so that's my game plan today. Or if you're like, oh, I'm so confused, I don't want to deal with this, then just watch the SPY and QQQ today, guys. All right. If you're getting real confused about the contract shift, just simply watch the SPY and QQQ. It's about that easy. Okay. It's pretty much that easy. So anyways, let's jump into the September contracts on the Nasdaq futures, and let's take a look at what's going on here. You have a very clean, very clean Friday high here to be paying attention to today. 22,075. Look at the Friday highs. All right, perfect. You go like this, edit property, boom, Friday highs. Perfect. There's a very clean level to be watching today. Friday highs, bam, on the charts. There you go. 22,075. That is definitely a level to be cautious into today for potential failures. Okay, that's pretty spot on. So if we get over that level, right, if we are able to penetrate over 22,075, I would expect upside. I would expect upside up into this channel, which probably gets a little bit messy, right? But I would expect upside nonetheless towards that 22,200 area. Obviously, that would be just like a scalping long that I would take. Little break, retest, scalp long, take profits into the move. Don't start hoping and praying into these highs and start getting chopped up. Just take that quick initial pop off the retest hold over Friday's highs. That would be a trade I'd look for today. To the downside, we can very clearly see that these lows right here, that little flip from the Thursday night panic, if you guys remember the Thursday night panic attack, you guys can see 21,950, right? 21,950 right there. Take a look at that this morning, right? Look at this, 21,950 holding very strong. So that is very clear as well. You have these 21,950 lows. You have these 22,075 highs. This is your channel today, right? There's your channel right there. It's already established. It is already established. That is where trading will get tricky. If you start trading in the middle of this range, it's going to get tricky. Here's your range high. Here's your low. This is where you focus on today. You either look for potential fails at Friday's highs. You could look for bounces at this 21,950 low. But you're not going to start taking trades right in the center of this and hoping it goes a single direction. So 22,075, that's number one. 21,950, that's number two. Underneath 21,950, you navigate into this channel, which is a disaster. So under 950, you probably gravitate towards the 21,800 demand lows, which is the daily 20 SMA, which held beautifully. Look at the daily 20 SMA holding this market still higher. Very strong. Okay, so that's key. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. You can see that 22,075 is also that high from back here on that previous Thursday pop. If you guys remember that day, we've been having that day in focus. You can see that day, rejections, right? And then you're right there at the Friday highs is 22,075. So that's a very key level. If you get over that level today, I'd say you trade into this high here, right? If you are able to get over this level and hold, I'm thinking you're going to see this once again, right? Right up into that 22,200. Here's your high, here's your high, here's your high. You turn this back into support today, I think you're going right there, okay? If you get above that, you're going right here, 22,300. Downside demands, very strong here at 21,950. Demand, demand, demand. Look at how it's holding above today, all right? Putting these shorts underwater. Everyone that shorted into the daily 20, getting trapped. Nice bounce off the daily 20, reclaiming major lows. I think it looks pretty bullish in terms of technicals. However, here's the problem. Look at the title of today's video. FOMC, OPEX, geopolitical risks. Just a lot of shit going on. And that's the concerning part, right? In terms of technicals, looks very bullish to me. I love the reclaim back above the Thursday lows, the Tuesday's lows, the last week's lows, right? You pretty much reclaimed all of last week's lows after a little bit of a liquidity grab down into the daily 20, right? Coming back above, holding above. Here's your line in the sand, right? This is sort of like the core. That's like the core of the channel right there. You have, a little bit of juice up here. You got a little bit of juice down here. But here's sort of that, core structure point on this channel, right in the middle. So do you get above the 22,075 for another push into the highs, or do you get a fail back under the 950 for another drop into the lows? That's really where the opportunity will arise, my friends. Either above or below this high and this low. And I would try your best to try to contain your foaming at the mouth trading habits within this area, right? Try your best. Try your best to resist the urge to just slam something for no reason All right, try to get a hold above one of these levels today. Okay, that's my recommendation. That's that. ESU 25 September contracts. So, September contracts on the ES. Let's go ahead and get some details here on the S&P 500, because the S&P 500 really has been, and in my opinion, sort of sloppy. Not going to lie. It's been a little bit sloppy in terms of the levels for me, because it's just so sideways, right? It continues to be sideways. So for me, the core levels here, which is what I would really focus on, right, is the trading range of Friday, right? So if you trade anywhere between 60.82, right, and anywhere above 60.40, if you trade anywhere between that range today, you are basically just trading within Friday's range, right? So if we look at this, here's the 5-minute. It's really like 60.20, the Friday lows. So I will change that just to make it perfectly correct. Let me go ahead and take that off real quick. It is technically down here at 60.20. So let me go ahead and put that there. Friday lows. So you can see right here, right? We had Friday lows 60.20. We had highs 60.82. Here's your all-day Friday range, right? Very nice. So if you trade anywhere in there, right, you are trading within Friday's range, which means you're trading within meaningless action, right? Let's talk about why that is, right? Why is that meaning? Well, you're trading within the exact same range of a prior day. Do you think that means anything in terms of the overall market? Probably not, right? So if you're going to trade inside this channel, then you have to understand that it's meaningless, and anything you do is a scalp. It's just a one-direction scalp, right? You're just trying to take a quick reaction on the market. It's not like you're going to create thesis or bias off those ideas. So 6,082, here's your Friday high. Here's that low from Thursday. You can see that that could be a potential failure point today. I would be aware of that. That's very clear, all right? 60.40, you can see right there. Very clear low here from Thursday. Very clear little flip point here from the intraday on Friday. 60.40 holding up nicely. And you can see we're back above that 60.40. So if we reject, guess what? You could bounce off this 60.40, right? Very possible. Down under 60.40, you reach towards that 60.20 as well as that daily 20 SMA, which would be a very strong demand area. And I would not be taking aggressive shorts right into this level. That is exactly where you held here Friday, where you held that pre-market. You held the daily 20. This is definitely not the spot to be throwing in some puts for, an overnight swing down at these lows. That is absolutely the exact wrong spot to be doing that. So I would be careful down there. You definitely have some demand in the 40s, in the 20s, and even down here in the 6,000s, right? This whole 40-point range, I think, is peppered with demand, right? This whole area down here. You can clearly see it, right? You can clearly see, even when you zoom out here on the hourly chart, you can really see. I should just put it as an entire 40-point range, to be quite honest, but I won't, because I want to have some idea of where we're trading. But you can see, look at this 6,000 spot, major highs, hold, 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 right? Pretty good, pretty strong. So pretty much anywhere within the 6,000 to these 60.40 highs, I think is a very dangerous area to be shorting into. And I'm not really guessing here. All I'm doing is looking at what happened previously here, right? It's no guess. It's just looking, right? Just look at it. Would you just look at it? Ed Bassmaster, right? Look at this. Anyone who shorted here, smacked. Look at this. Anyone who shorted here, smacked. So it's pretty damn clear, right? You just got to follow the levels and look at what's happened previously, historically on the market. 6,000, 60.20, 60.40. Not the spot to be getting long or short. So be careful down there. That's pretty damn clear. To the upside, very clear 60.82. I like that. You break over Friday's highs, you're probably going 6,100 today, right? Right up here, 61.05. You get above that, you're probably going 61.20, right? Pretty nice. So 60.82, 61.05, 61.20. I would be watching those levels today, okay? All right, let's go to the SPY. Wow, nice break on SPY over this 600 level. So that's good. So here's the SPY. All right, take a look at this 5-minute. Why do I have this little 600 level here? I'll show you what that is on the ES if you want to put a level there. This is the wrong chart, sorry. If you want to put a level here, it is these highs right here. It is the 60-67 spot. If you'd like to put a little demand there, I don't hate that idea. The reason for that is it's this head and shoulder sort of neckline break on Friday. Right here, see this? See that morning high? See that hold? See that hold? Look at the fail. Absolutely sexy fail on Friday. On the fail back under those lows. Unbelievable trade. That is so clean. Highs, lows, lows, highs, smackdown, break, retest, smackdown. WWE right there, for sure. I mean, that is just perfection. So, you can see today, it was also trying to smack down. It did not, though. You broke above it. So that's an important spot there. If we go to the SPY, you can see where that WWE smackdown level came in from Friday. It is right here at this 600.37 spot, right? Look at this. 37, 35, whatever you want to call it, within a few cents, right? You can see here, high, low, low, break, retest, smackdown. Bam. Beautiful, right? That is gorgeous. A fail back under the morning high, trap buyers, bam, smack them. That was beautiful, and you can see right here, that is the exact same level that's happening right now. So, yeah, he knows. Clyde knows. I'll put you on the news. So 600.35 looks like a key spot. You hold that, you're going 602 Friday's highs. Above that, you're going 603.50 Thursday's highs. And you're navigating into landmines. Might I add, right? Might I add, you are navigating into landmines. Landmine, right? You have to be careful as you trade higher into these levels. Very nice, move so far in the pre-market. 602, 603.50. Okay? Downside demand definitely comes in within this 598, 597 area. Below that, you go 595, which you can see is the exact low, and then below that, 593. QQQ. Pretty damn nice here. Friday's highs. 531, what's the exact high? 531.85, 531.87. I mean, right there. Pretty much exact high. You can see right there. Beautiful. You break above that, hold above it. I'd say you're going to this 535 high. Maybe you bring it down just a tad. Well, I mean, I know it's going to be there, so just make sure you know it's approaching. I know those Friday highs were around, those Thursday highs were around 534.50, but we'll know that it's there and approaching. So just understand that. If you get above this 532 level, 531.86, and it does hold, then I would say that is a quality look for a hold and a long above that Friday high. That is pretty damn clean. You could also look for the little alfalfa and sort of failure back below, right? What is the most bearish thing to happen today? What is the most bearish thing to happen today? Something like this, right? Push higher, try to hold above, fail back under, retest rejection, boom, boom, WWE smackdown, right? That's your most bearish look today, if that happens. Because that would be an attempt higher, buyers longing above that Friday high, failing back under and rejecting, and then you just get absolutely smacked, right? That is the most bearish thing that could happen today if you want to look for that reaction as well. So watch that 531.85, 532. Watch this 535 high. Demand is very strong down here at the 525, 526. We can very clearly see this. Yep, definitely from the top rope, that one would be, no doubt. It is definitely from the top rope. It looks like 528's got a little bit that you could watch out for. Yeah, it's like this 528.21, or sorry, it's 528.40 spot. You could look for this slightly to hold, I'd say. You can see it definitely held this morning. If you want to be watching that a little bit, why do I say that? Well, it's this low here, it's this rejection here, it's this rejection here, it's this rejection here, excuse me, and it's this hold right here. All right, so You got a little bit of something there at the 528.40 if you want to pop it on there. But it's very clear Friday highs are the focus right now. S&P, Friday highs. Nasdaq, Friday highs. QQQ, Friday highs. SPY, Friday highs. Across the board. Okay? SMH real quick. Okay. If the SMH can reclaim the Friday high, which I need to adjust this to exactly the Friday high. Exactly the Friday high is 260.60. So I'm going to put that on my charts. Friday high is 260.60 on the SMH. That is going to be important in my opinion. If you can reclaim that or not. All right? Because if you zoom out here, you can see right here, this is a nice looking pullback. Previous highs, lows, lows. Look at the break and retest, right? You're retesting that major spot. On the 4 hour, this probably looks like a nice, on the 4 hour, this looks like a beautiful flag, right? You can see right here, little slow pullback, flagging back down to demand. Previous highs into lows, break, retest, long. Looks great. Looks fantastic. How do we know if that plays today? Well, we're going to look for a hold over Friday's highs. That's what we're going to look for. Let's change this alert. Actually, I'm going to leave that one down there. Create an alert above 260. I'll go 260.60. And I will see if we get triggered on that. 260.62. And we'll see if we get over that Friday high. If so, then that's pretty interesting on the SMH to maintain back above that Friday high. Definitely could help some semiconductor action. IWM holding the daily 20. A little bit of a hold down there at the daily 20. Let's see if it gets over this 211 spot today. If you're looking at IWM, I'd want to see a hold over 211. Maybe you give it, I think it is 211. You had a little Friday wick high up there around 211.50, but I'd like to see the strength form over 211. That's something you could watch. And finally, the Dow Jones is reclaiming that 20 and 100 right there. Still under that 43K, which is going to be major. All right, so that's pretty clean. Everything Friday highs is going to be the focus. So let's go ahead and jump into some stocks. 2,500 people here, 600 likes. Should I end the stream now? Are we not liking the stream? Is that what it is? Bad stream today? Someone said, let's play around. I'm near St. Augustine. All right. That could be fun. Nvidia under. Where did you go? Yikes. Yikes is right. Tesla. Sexy, sexy Tesla on Friday. Sexy. Took me nicely green on the day. Was up more at a peak than I would like to say. I took a lot of profits into this move, but I did hold and get a little aggressive. So I did give back a decent portion of the unrealized gains that I had, but still a beautiful day. And I was looking to see if Tesla could get a little crazy. It did get pretty crazy. We did make a good amount on this. This was a nice sort of midday alert that we had on Tesla after it got over the 324 level. It was right on the mark, right at 324. It was exactly our spot. We've had 324 in our levels on Tesla for since the drop happened. All right, 324 was a major spot. And if you guys see here on the 1 minute chart, right, look at this, 324, little break, little retest, just absolutely smoked this thing. Beautiful upside continuation. Man, oh man, does it feel good to see something actually continue. Look how beautiful this price action was on Friday over 324. It was incredible to see. Again, another perfect break and retest right here, right? Just perfect break and retest action on the way higher, which is awesome. Sort of overshot itself here, took profits into the move, and then later in the day, look where it pulled back to. Look, 324 again. So just perfect on Tesla, really, in terms of levels, which you love to see. So let's go ahead and look at this. Today, 324 is the key spot. You got to hold above that for sure. If you get any pullbacks to this level, I would definitely look to see if that becomes a long opportunity for sure. Under that, I like even the long at 318. I would look for that 318 spot as well. That's interesting as well. If you push higher today, please be careful into 336. Please do not chase Tesla into this daily 20 and 336, okay? This could very well be a little over exhaustion move and then a smack down to 324. That is very possible today, all right? So everyone's sort of horned up, longing it into 336 into the daily 20. That ends up failing, and then that would rocket this thing back down to 324, which would then actually create the correct long, right? So please don't be like an early long that gets smacked and then doesn't take this trade. I would want to be, this is definitely the best entry. 324 is the best entry. Even 318 is a good entry on sort of some retracement longs, right? Give me some retracement longs from these lows. Doesn't have to happen. It may not happen, but that is technically the best long, right? So, let's just pull it from here. Retracement, into the 324, into this 318 area. Those are the best longs. But 336, maybe it's just a juicer today, right? Maybe it's just a juicer today. And if we get over 336, we're going to 350. If we get over 336, I think you're going pretty much straight to 350. Why do I say that? Well, if I zoom out here, take a look at this hourly chart, right? Look at this. I don't think that's stopping Tesla. 336, that goes 350. So I am definitely interested in trading that today. If I don't get a pullback, I'm going to be interested. But I'm also going to understand that it's going to be much higher risk without a pullback first. Okay, so please understand that today. Daily 20 sitting right above. You can see the failures that have come in here. It's not going to be just an easy level to go through. Daily chart looks pretty damn interesting, right? If we can create this higher low here at the daily 200 SMA, that is a very interesting higher low on the daily 200 SMA, right? Look at that. Daily 200, a little bit of I'd like to see a higher low form for another push higher. That would be very interesting. I would watch it. Something's there. Something is here. So that'll be my watch. Nvidia, let's wait for the 145 to break. There's been no reason to front run this stock. Every time you try to front run Nvidia 145, it's an absolute shit show. Even the way it looked on Thursday, right? Thursday of last week, it was like, oh yeah, we're going, right? Pretty much for sure, right? I'm sure a lot of people said, yep, we're going through it. No doubt. Look at this thing. Even in the wake of this move, right? Even how strong this looked on Thursday. Look at this thing on Thursday. If you're looking at this, what are you telling me? Yeah, we're breaking 145. Yep, right? You're looking at this chart. What are you saying? Yep, 145. Let's get a break. Here we go. Nope. I don't care what it looks like. Never broke, right? Never broke. Look at this. Bam. Dead. So, what does that mean to you, right? What does Nvidia prove to you right here, right? Nvidia proves, when you're looking at this chart, Nvidia proves to you that you cannot front run a move. It looked very good on both Wednesday and Thursday of last week for breakouts. Intraday, this looked ready to go. I mean, absolutely looked ready to go. Here we go, 145. We're about to break. Let's get the move. I'm going to get in before it breaks, and I'm going to chase this and hope it breaks out. Bam, dead. Can't do it. Can't do it, right? This is why the break and retest, in my opinion, is the best thing to do. You need to let it break. You need to let it retest. You need to let it confirm that it's going to hold above this level. If you don't get that, don't take the trade. It keeps you from this, right? That's what the break and retest does. It keeps you away from this. And that's what I think is very important. If we get the break of 145 and we get the retest, then we look for it. And if we lose on that, that's okay, right? Because you're just going to have a stop loss under 145. So if it breaks 145, holds it, looks like it's trying to maintain, you take your shot. If it fails back under, that's okay. You waited for the break and retest. You waited for some kind of confirmation. You didn't just long into 145 and just do some kind of amateur move and then just get smoked because it just rejected again, just like it did for the last month, right? So that's something I would focus on. on Nvidia today. Okay, keep an eye on that. 145, very important. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. AMD, been pretty strong, been a little bit of a juicer, pretty decent price action lately. And if the market is weak today, this is my top watch for the short side, to be honest. But it does look a little bit strong off the daily 20, which is concerning for downside, right? This is a nice little pullback to the daily 20 and a nice push so far. However, that does not mean that this does not become a head and shoulder, right? Look at this. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, right? Look at that. So that's a little bit interesting, all right? Be careful there. If AMD fails that 119.50, you can see right there, that could be a little bit of a failure and rejection. If that starts to show up, that could get pretty interesting. Now, what do you need for that to happen? You need the SMH in the market to weaken, which I really don't see yet, but we'll keep an eye on it. If you get over 119.50 and hold, that could also be equally as interesting of a long opportunity. MU has been a rock solid semi, which is really weird for me to say. This thing has been rock solid lately. Over 111, 114 demand, you can see it is holding very nicely. Our next level here is 121. So really strong demand hold within our demand zone. Look at this. I mean, yeah, I would say retest the 117, Chef. That would be your next move for sure, brother. I like that. I like that look. Yep. Good idea. That would be your retest long if you want to try to run this thing. Right here. Previous high, retest, that would be your long if it doesn't deeper pullback, but that would be it. You've got to hold there for that, sort of short-term upside trade still. TSM, pretty damn good looking chart on the 4-hour. If you're asking me, right? Take a look at this 4-hour chart on TSM. Pretty nice consolidation, pretty good looking little wedge here. Definitely intriguing for that breakout move. Definitely going to be watching it. Where do I think it should pull back to? I think it should pull back to 206. I think there's more demand here at 206 that it needs to test again. If I look at this chart, I see a lot of highs at 206, 206, 206, 206. If I look at this short-term time frame, you can see right here, 206 is right here. So I think you want this pullback, to be honest, like a little trap on the long side, which then does something like this. That would be really nice if you could get like one of those traps where it looks like it's going to break, doesn't, comes back to 206, stops everyone out, holds the real demand spot, and then goes. I would definitely keep an eye on that. Now, does it have to do that? No. Could it just break over 213 today? Yes. If TSM goes over Friday's highs and gets some juice behind it, you're probably looking for upside here. I would say at a minimum 216 if you hold over Friday's highs. So, something to watch. I'll be keeping a little eye on that one today. Meta. Yeah, Meta's just staying sideways. Just got to get out of this range. You can see right here. Pretty nice range between 680 demand, 695 supply. It's got to get outside of it. I would just create an alert at both of them and just wait for something to hit. Broadcom, wait for something to hit. Sitting in between a channel. 256, 243, nothing there. Let's go to Amazon. Amazon 214. If Amazon can get over 214 today, then I think you probably see a move into 216. Over 214, you go 216. Over 216, you go probably 220 again. Or, on the bearish side, if you fail this high, this low, and these highs again today at 214, that could be a lower high. So I would be aware of that as well, back into 211. Google. Not really loving much on Google, but a beautiful bounce off the daily 200 SMA on Friday. I mean, literally vertical, which is awesome. Right off the daily 200. That's sick. I would say it's like right there. I would say lows have to come in at 175. Your highs are right here at 179. I would wait for one of those to hit, personally. APP, sort of interesting, but I need something over 360, or I'm sorry, over 380 or under 360. I'll be keeping eyes on that a little bit. Palantir, monster, 140, monster. Gonna have to see something really strong over that to get chasey on Palantir today. Let's see if it holds over 140. Pullback longs, 135 were absolute money on Friday. like the little break and hold above. Look at this thing. Break, retest, 135. That's money. So 135 is very, very nice. If you get another, if you're ever, if you get to see it there again, I would be aware of it. 135, definitely a big spot. 130 as well. If you can hold over 140, yeah. But you do have to understand the gap you're on, my friends, right? It's not like a beautiful little, nice little structure hold of 135. It's been maintaining for 2 days. We see a lot of demand stepping in. I got nice confirmation that we're going to get a nice hold. No, I'm going to look for a 140 hold on a gap up at all-time highs. That is a very different story, right? You have to understand the ratings. Have some kind of a rating system for yourself of the trades you're taking, right? So when you look at Palantir, a long on a break and hold over 130, which is a very major previous demand spot, is probably, a little bit more closer to that A-type trade, right? A break and hold over an all-time high that you basically have gapped up from this point about 3%, trying to maintain over these sort of wick highs at all-time highs, is probably a little bit more like a C, maybe B-type setup. It's definitely bullish. There's nothing wrong with the thought process. I like the idea, but what does this open you up to, right? What does this make you susceptible to? It's very easy to understand that you are going to be susceptible to a failure and gap fill, right? And then later on, a continuation move. So you have to understand, hey, I'm longing on a gap fill. And if I do that, there is very much possibility that this stock is still very bullish, something bearish about this. But if I get in too high and I have to sit through a gap fill, my option contracts are going to be toasted, right? I am going to sit through a toast of drawdown. I mean, I'm going to be ripped. So just got to understand that, right? Don't step into this, say, hey, this is a break and retest. There is no risk here, right? Yes, there is. You're on a 3% gap up, right? So understand that if you do look at Palantir today, just say, hey, maybe I'll try this, but I'm also going to understand that we're pretty extended and maybe there's a better entry. Okay? All right. That is that. Netflix, sort of just chilling. Just a strong stock. You got to get like a sneaky entry here somewhere on a drop. Unless you just want to trust this thing to just grind higher. Very possible. Anyone remember? Yeah. Yeah, who remembers that? Who remembers that? Chef. Appreciate that, Chef. For literally 3 weeks straight, everyone would ask me about Palantir every day, and we would just say, anything over 29 is good. Anything over, I think it was 29 to 30. Anything over 30 is good. It was the same response every day. I remember that, Chef. Yeah. Jesus. Look at this thing. I mean, I can't even, it was right here. This is where, look where my lines are. It was right here. Right here. Right here, yeah. It was right, it was on this retest. Anything over 30 is good. Gone. Gone like the wind. Crazy. What a move. What a win for the retail boys, right? What a win for us. All right, guys. Let's get a quick peek at the Nasdaq ES again before we head out. Friday highs, man. Friday highs. Do not pay attention to this. Friday highs, please, on both Nasdaq, ES, SPY, QQQ. Friday highs have to be on watch. Okay? All right, guys. Well, that is going to be it for today's live stream. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a fantastic trading day. If you guys want to trade live with me on a daily basis, you can check that out down below. If you want my free morning watch list, that is also down below. Little 2-3 minute clip of some things I'm watching every morning, sent straight to your email, sent straight to your WAP dashboard. You can check that out as well. Okay? Hope you have a fantastic trading day. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the lessons. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace and love.